can't have my readers.
It's 6 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with local Boy Scout Adrian Brown leading us in the pledge. If y'all would stand with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adrian. You get another? You got quite a
That's fine, I'm sorry, I had to give it.
Alderman Miller, would you lead us in an invocation, please?
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, first, before we do anything, we say thank you for this day that you allowed us to see. Then thank you, Lord, again for the opportunity you're giving each and every one of us to serve, whatever capacity it might be. And we pray, Heavenly Father, that our service will be pleasing in thy sight. We ask you, Lord, to continue, Lord, to bless our soldiers far and near and bring them back home safe. We just thank you, Lord, for this great nation, this great state, this great county, and this great city that you allowed us to live in. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Could I have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Mayor, I've got one thing I need to add,
Okay.
if that's possible. I wanted to add a discussion of a possible extension of the turn lane southbound Mackinvale at Dilworth. And with that change, motion to approve.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. We want to just put that right after the utility adjustments as the last discussion item. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that'd be fine.
That way we don't have to
I
renumber
apologize.
everything. All right. Okay. That agenda is approved. Can I have a motion to approve the docket of claim numbers listed on your agenda?
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 6 is to approve the minutes from the regular Mayor and Board of Aldermen meeting of July 21st.
Motion. Second.
It's a motion and a second. We'll have a roll call vote.
Alderman Kitchens.
Aye.
Alderman Piper.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Abstain.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderman Wicker.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item 7 is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion on that?
Can I ask the attorney, have you reviewed items G, H, I, and J, and you feel ethically and legally good with those?
I have. And a lot of these properties are under $10,000, but there's another process that needs to do in that, so I think they properly did it. I don't know the adjuster, the appraiser, the process is used.
And the appraiser was on a list that was
it's
required for us to
Biloxi
use
or
from
something like
MDOT. So we got, it's all that the MPO wanted us to do as well. Was there a motion or a second on that item, on the consent agenda? I don't think there is.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Item 8 is the personnel docket. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Some motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And that motion passes. Item 9 is the donations docket. Is there a motion on that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The donations docket is approved. Item 10 is the presentation from the First Regional Library for funding for FY27. We get to see y'all every year.
We get to see you guys too, and we'll see you more frequently for those of you who come to the library. I know that's most of you, right? I'm Lori Barnes. I'm Director of First Regional Library, and it's just such a great honor for me to be with you all here this evening. I have to begin, as I always do, by just thanking you, because if you didn't support the library in the way that you have been, things would be very different in what we're able to do for the citizens of Hernando and for your constituents. So we just thank you so very much for that support. I'd just like to also acknowledge that The library system is really doing great things. We have had continued high levels of usage as far as items checked out, visitors that we've measured that have come to the library, programs for all ages of people, especially children. If you've been by the library this summer, you know that you've seen probably some dinosaurs and some children at the library, because we've been full of that all summer, and it's been really, really awesome. We've also done great with our outreach services. Also, upgrading technology this year has been very important, and we've been able to manage that. And our Wi-Fi services. You may drive by the library and see somebody parked at the library in the middle of the night. Well, they're probably utilizing our Wi-Fi services that are available 24/7. So at this time, I wanted to introduce Jennifer Stevenson, who is Assistant Director for Public Services, and she's going to go over some statistics briefly for you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Jennifer Stevenson. As Lori said, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our great numbers that we're experiencing. You have a handout in front of you. On one side are the annual statistics for James F. Anderson Public Library, and on the other side, for comparison, is First Regional Library's entire statistics for our 5-county system with 14 branches. So with our visitors last year, we had 70,317 people walk through our doors. And of those people, they checked out 121,170 items. We had almost 400 total programs for the year, and 326 of those were for children, and attendance has really been going up at our programs. For this past fiscal year is 11,484 attending for all of the programs, and 9,341 for youth. And what that means to us, I always compare the previous year's numbers, and we've had, about a 15% increase in the number of programs we're offering, and that results with us having a lot more attendance. Last fiscal year, we had over 34% increase in the number of people coming to our summer reading programs, because that's our big time of the year. So we could not do that without the funding from our cities, and we really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
I want to close very briefly by, again, thanking you and affirming that we're requesting from the City of Hernando level funding in the amount of $165,000 for fiscal year 2027. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the library at this time?
I heard y'all got an app that lets people with a library card check out digital books.
Oh, yes, we do.
So a couple of our
We
employees are
do.
using that heavily. I've downloaded the app, but I haven't signed in yet. But
The
next
app is
time I
Libby.
travel, I'm going to do that.
Oh, it's great. I use it all
You
the
use
time.
a lot?
The Libby app.
Yes, that's it.
Yep.
And I will tell y'all, in fact, I dealt with a patron just this week who was saying, I wish y'all could get this and this and this. And we do try to make sure that our funding buys as many ebooks as we possibly can. But ebooks are very expensive even for libraries. And publishing houses are also very proprietary with those. They limit the number of times an ebook can be checked out to libraries. A book can only be checked out like 25 or 29, something like that times, and then it goes away. And if we want it again, we have to buy it again.
Okay.
So just so don't get too mad at us, because we try really, really hard to get as best collection as we can, but we do have those limitations.
Well, thank you for all
But
you
it's
do
very
and
popular.
being a
Thank
good
you guys
part of
so
our
much.
community.
It's great to see you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to the next item, which is item 11, to approve the software agreement with Civic Eye for the court department. And I know that Cassie has been sharing this with Stephen for him to eyeball for us. They're about to stop supporting the current software, and we would have to pay for an upgrade. We haven't been real happy. I would say the court system has not been real happy with the software. And Cassie and her judges and her staff have explored various softwares, and this is the one they've come up with. And so they're asking y'all to approve this software agreement with it. And Cassie's here if y'all have any direct questions on that topic.
How long have we been on the current software? I thought we got that right when we kind of took office in 21, didn't we?
We started with SysCon in October 2017.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I looked into it a little bit. Is there a police side of that software as well? And if so, are they using this?
They are not.
Okay.
No. they will connect to whatever the police department has.
Okay, gotcha.
But I don't know that they actually have a police program.
Okay, gotcha.
But they will connect. That won't be any problem.
Are there any concerns or any other questions?
How does this compare cost-wise to what we're currently using?
Much better.
Cheaper?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll have some upfront costs as we're having them, move all the data, but overall, it's quite a bit
Conversions
cheaper.
And all that, it'll be a little bit.
Is there some downtime as we convert?
They state that they should not be any downtime at all. Because they will be converting all the data while we're still in our current software. And then we'll be checking it periodically, but we can work in it as well as they're doing it, but until they actually get it all completed, we're going to stay in our current software.
When we come back at the next meeting and present the general fund budget to y'all, we'll make sure that there's a sheet in there showing the cost breakdown. There will be some upfront costs that won't show us much savings in the upcoming budget, but there will be in the future budgets, and we'll include that sheet as part of the budget process. Anything else? If not, is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you for all your hard work on that, Cassie.
Thank you.
And Stephen, thank you for, I know you've been back and forth with her on a couple of contracts. We appreciate your time on that. Item 12 is the discussion of the downtown commercial overlay ordinance and adoption. And y'all sent Austin back to codify it. And usually we wait a month, but we didn't have a month. So here he is. So you want to present it to us?
Yes, sir. So the discussion from the last meeting was to proceed in codifying this ordinance. And so what I've done is, with this being an overlay, the quickest and easiest route, I thought, for the insertion into the zoning ordinance was to just add an additional overlay to the ones we already have. So currently we've got C4, planned business, planned office, PUD, which we see the most of, and then environmental, flood, historic, and then a T&D. And so this would be Article H behind all of those. And so this would not be a standalone zoning similar to the historic district or the environmental flood overlay. It's just an additional set of requirements within that district. So any parcels within that boundary would fall under this overlay with it being inserted there. A little bit about the ordinance, like we talked about at the last meeting. Fundamentally, what this would do would be require buildings be built to a front setback. 5 foot is the number. It goes to 10 if you have a patio proposed. And to require a minimum building height of 20 foot. At the last meeting, we did talk about the boundary quite a bit, and that was some consideration from the Planning Commission of where this actually is going to happen. The general discussion from the board at the last meeting was to keep it to the boundary as established by the ordinance committee. So that's Exhibit 1, which will be inserted in the zoning ordinance, and on GIS is that boundary that the ordinance committee came up with. It's not the expanded boundary from the Planning Commission. And so what this will do is, if approved tonight, I'll advertise in the paper to take effect in 30 days. We'll post it at City Hall, and then it will be queued to go in effect the 4th of September. So this is the codified ordinance as requested at the last meeting, and I'm available if you got any questions.
Since this is an ordinance adoption, is there anyone here that wants to speak for or against this item? If not, is there anyone on the board that wants further discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And it is passed. In 30 days, it will take effect. Thank you, Austin. Okay, item 12, as advertised, this is the public hearing to adopt the tax levies. I am now calling this as a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wants to speak on it, we have it available to view. This is what we had shown you at the last meeting. It is the blue box on your sheet there. That's the breakdown. And this is the millage adoption. Does anybody have any questions on it, or does anybody want to make a motion to adopt it? And this is, to be very clear, This is not a tax increase that we're looking at right now.
So basically the only increase is essentially in organic growth, essentially. Like,
Right.
as far as our revenue, the 5% increase is just.
And we did have a pretty good growth in personal property taxes because some things rolled off the rolls. So, roll off the, that's the word I'm looking for. Their abatements went away. There were a few of those that went away. But yeah, we just had organic growth. Some of the buildings at Delta Landing have come on the rolls for the upcoming year.
Yeah.
And those will be big additions, and all the houses we built. So quite a few things. It's about a 5% increase.
The motor vehicle still really gives me pause because I think that that's one of those numbers that just is behind, and I mean, I think we need to hold the millage rate where it is and really watch that number over the next month as we're considering the budget.
Agreed, absolutely. Because in this current budget year, we're lagging behind on those revenues, and we use the numbers given to us by the tax collector's office, and it's just, so far, it's not meeting those numbers. So I share your trepidation on that. Somebody like to make a motion to adopt the tax levy?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the tax levy with no millage increase. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no, and that motion passes. This closes the public hearing section of the meeting. Item 14 is a discussion of a draft of the utility fund budget, and I'll be coming back to y'all at the next board meeting with the rest of the budget, the general fund, parks, and things of that nature. But this one I felt just needed special attention. The Finance Committee just now held their meeting and gave it their first look. We had a good discussion about it. I'm not expecting anybody to say we're adopting anything tonight since y'all just laid your eyes on it, but it is here in front of you, and if y'all can have any questions you want to ask about it, this will be a good time. And if not, we're going to email it to you so you can really look at it good before the next board meeting. But Stephen is here, I'm here, the Finance Committee Finance Committee is here, and they've looked at it, and in general, I think we've got a good budget. It is a little less than last year, and it is balanced, and it has a $182,000 contingency in it. And so it's a true balanced budget. We're showing zero cash brought forward. This is a true balanced budget. Not working on cash reserves. There may not be any to start with, but we're going to assume there's none, whether there are or not. The director has come up with a lot of cost-saving measures, and quite frankly, we discussed this in the Finance Committee meeting. As he finds ways to save money and do things a little more effectively and efficiently, we'll probably see this budget come in front of y'all for changes throughout the budget year. Probably 3 or 4 times I could see that happening as we figure out new ways to do things and more efficient ways. And while he's still eager and not beaten down and has good ideas, we'll be changing some stuff. Does anybody on the committee want to say anything about it that would stand out to y'all? And Kid, if you see something you want to talk about, you look like you were about to say something. Does anybody chime in?
Seeing is really the difficult part of it.
Young people may need some glasses.
I know. I mean, basically, what are the major changes that have been made?
Yeah, come on.
I'm just going to leave that there. So pretty much 63 days as of today as I've been here. So the things that we looked at first was just observance of how money was being spent, right? So looking at that, we discovered that there's not a lot of checks and balances over there, and the actual exposure was relatively high in that department, right? Mm-hmm. So we recently wrote a policy and a procedure and changed how we're doing all financial and all spending. So pretty much what we've done is supervisor level or above is the only people that can spend on any project. Once that expenditure happens, it has to be attached or associated with an actual work order. So that way, I can tell what actual item was spent, what project it was spent on, whether it was rock, stone, nuts, bolts, oil, whatever. We should be able to tell you exactly, or an auditor, where that money went, what project it was spent for. Right now, it can't be done. So going forward, that was the first thing I wanted to do, is be able to tell you guys, if you asked, where did the money spent on, I can be able to tell you per project, per thing. So that was one of the first measures. And to be able to do that, you have to write the procedure. Then you have to educate the people on how to use the procedure. Then you got to write the policy to support the procedure. So that was finished this week, and we're in the process of implementing now, all while working on the budget and trying to find ways that we could save money. That alone, I think, is going to shore up a lot of spending that we couldn't really track to tell you how. And some of the budget lines you'll notice are kind of askew and whack. That's because you can't really attribute a dollar amount to that line, not accurately, because there's not a way to tell you. So we can tell you totals, but I can't tell you how much was spent on oil.
Gotcha.
Right.
And you're also going to be seeing some line items in here with let's just say we've spent 1,000 this year, but we're budgeting 20,000 for next year. Well, the reason we only spent 1,000 is because we've been cash strapped this year. It's not that we didn't need to spend it. We've just been super frugal and fallen a little bit behind on some things that need to be done. There'll be a lot of those.
Yeah.
But that's one of the procedures. The other one is more on like looking at bids and quotes. So bids and quotes going forward, we'll retain all bids and quotes and attach those to the work order, scan those into the work order system, again, for purposes for auditors in the future, or anybody that wants to see who all bid for a project, what did the bids come in at, and what we went with and what we spent. So all that will be kept, then sent to the clerk's office. We'll retain hard copies and all this, as well as run spreadsheets throughout the year, which I think is extremely important, on top of BBI.
I would say the biggest thing in here that, it's got capital expenditures are always the thing this board looks at the most. And so we've got about $870,000 worth of capital expenditures needed. Y'all know we wanted a garbage truck last year. We couldn't budget for it. One of them's a garbage truck. One of them's a boring machine. We're spending a lot of money paying contractors to bore every time we have to bore, when our crew is quite capable of doing it if we have the machine. There's a vacuum trailer that can vacuum out manholes, so we don't have to hire an outside company to do that. The brush truck is actually a larger brush truck, which would take fewer trips to the dump, and it can pick up heavier loads than the other ones can. He's cutting back with new pickup trucks that need to be bought. He brought it to my attention, we've been buying crew cabs. We don't really need crew cabs, and they cost more. You don't travel around with 4 people in a truck.
Right.
So we're using toolbox beds on the new pickup trucks that would be needed. And we towed bulldozers and tractors around, and the 2,500 models we've been buying are not holding up to that. We got 2 with rear ends going out, one with the transmission going out. So moving forward, we're going to have a few trucks that can tote those, and that takes a 4,500 truck.
Yeah.
So, and those are on state contracts, so there's a couple of those in there. But, so one of the biggest things is lumping all those things together. I called Nick with Governmental Consultants. He sent me a spreadsheet, showed us what the payments would be if we financed all that stuff we needed over 5 years. It's $205,000 a year for 5 years, and we get a bunch of equipment that can hopefully cut money we're spending outside to outside contractors and let our qualified people do more of the work by having the right equipment.
Additionally, just to make sure we have this on there too, that the skid steers that you're needing for, I think all of us experienced the ice storm, and we did not have the equipment we needed to do any kind of adequate response, and that's something that's I think it's $225,000 that's in this. So I think we can all agree that one has to be a priority, I think, just from a response standpoint. I think so. I would think all of us saw that for sure. But anything that's going to help us from a readiness standpoint, I do think that one of the things that we mentioned at some point was having something related to like a pre-event contract. I know we mentioned that at one point. I know we can't necessarily. It's hard to build that in the budget because it's something that may or may not happen, but it could be something where we look at the contingency being $182,000. If you have a pre-event contract not to exceed what the contingency balance is for the year or something, that could be something for us to consider and look at. It doesn't necessarily have to be built into the budget. It just can be something that we continue to research.
A lot of the things too, to that point, you'll see in there a mention of storage bins, right? So to Alderman Piper's point, if we had the ability to store more product on site, then we could buy more, get lower pricing on bulk pricing. So that's part of the plan too, is to be able to store more material, which is what he's referring to, is getting a better price on the front end before the storm hits, before prices go up, buying larger amounts. Right now, we're having that shipped in, paying shipping, paying a company to go pick it up, paying the markup on that. And we could go direct and get that if we had the ability to store it, as well as the ability to haul it, which is what we're working on to do. And everything, all the equipment that we're asking for, none of this is equipment that's part of I wish I had. These are all things that a normal operating public works has or should have, from down to the storm drain, sewer vacs, to the boring machines, things like that. And all the guys are skilled to use all these. And I started using the slogan at work, invest in us, because I have the skill set, I have the team. We just need the equipment, and I think over time, as we implement this equipment, it will actually start to bring down some of these outside costs going to contractors. For example, the board machine itself is around $25,000, but we spent $34,000 this year on boring. So that's not, we won't get away from boring outside a house, because what we're looking at is a shorter bore machine. We're not going to be able to do 1,000 foot, but across a sidewalk, a street, things like that we can handle, we can do in-house and save that $2,500
Yeah.
And the same with the sewers. Having a pump to be able to suck those down, then we're not going to pay $1,000 for a half a day for a pump truck to come suck down our sewers.
I misspoke. The skid steer doesn't cost $225,000. That's just the line item where it's listed. It's not like it's not a platinum. It's not a platinum skid steer. I don't know.
It's going to be
that's just a line item cost of where it's at, just to make it easier to find. The Cadillac skid steer. Yeah, no.
But yeah, on the skid steers themselves, the benefit of those on that is that it's a lower center of gravity machine that's built to spread its weight and footprint. So in ice and snow, we discovered those are great assets to move that debris around. In storms, the grapple hook on the front that you can attach, grabbing trees and moving out of roadways and things like that, those are imperative pieces of equipment, and they're really not that expensive to maintain or operate. The broom features on the front being able to sweep the snow and the stuff, or it leaves debris. And even right now, poor guy, I had him sweeping the street with the push broom for 2 weeks trying to get the gravel out of the things over on Parkway and over here on 55. If we'd have had the broom attachment operational at that time, we could have broomed that after the traffic died down and probably done that in a couple hours. So we just need to increase our operational efficiency, and that's what all this equipment's about.
Also talk about any additional employees or pay raises that's in this budget. That's the other big thing we need to talk about.
Yes, sir. The only employee, there's not any addition of employees or requesting of employees as it sits right now, but there is a couple of opportunities where there are existing contracts that we would like to get away from that would save us money but open up a dedicated person to do that role. That would be the only addition, but technically it would be a wash. It wouldn't be an addition of a burden of us having to increase our staff. As far as the raises, I'll let the mayor speak on that.
Yeah. So what I put in there, and that's always up for debate, but I know it's been.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, yeah. I put a 5% pay raise in there. That's what's in there in this balanced budget, is a 5% pay raise. And that'll be the same thing I'm putting in the general fund budget as well. And we'll just see if it all shakes out. But that's what's in here right now.
I meant to ask this in the financial, at one time I think we had like half of some salaries from the utility fund and the general. Did any of those salaries still put back in here, or are those separated out again?
That's a great question. So the half salaries from administrative people like myself, the human resources director, finance director, the city clerk, we had split those between utility and the general fund before. This board, when we were going through the financial difficulties, we moved all those to general, and we're leaving them in general. So they're in the admin section of general fund and not back in this budget.
Another thing we can touch on is the DeCrua amount. You want to talk about that, or?
The actual.
The expense.
Yeah.
Well, we had talked about, so we've been watching our DeCrua percentages throughout the year, and we're trending towards getting a refund back. And we're also trending towards a lower monthly cost for the upcoming fiscal year. So that's reflected in this budget, which is very exciting, and we're all glad to hear about that.
A couple of things are actually assisting that.
Tell them about the baseball.
We've actually have discovered where we've had malfunctioning equipment, a baseball lodged in a pump that had been there for years, who knows, and that pump was running, but it wasn't doing anything but burning electricity. So that's going to help with all those things too. But in all reality, at the end of the day, there's several factors that are lowering that, and one I believe is the guys buying into the I&I. And everybody on the Public Works team is actually actively looking and seeing, oh, there's a manhole cover off over here. Hey, there's a cap off, and everybody's bought into it. So we're seeing guys stepping up and fixing that. Not to mention we've hired an employee now, the supervisor, who has come in and has already identified 2 or 3 areas that is definitely an I&I issue, a potential issue that he's correcting, as well as saving us a lot of money on pump rebuilding, instead of sending that out of house. But as far as the actual numbers on the DeCrua and what we're seeing, yes, ma'am. And I'll let the mayor talk more about his more.
Yeah, so we got our actual invoice, not invoice, but the projected pay from DeCrua. They sent it to us, and they're going to charge us $3,188,000 in the next budget year. And so that number is in here as an expense. What I was considering doing, just so everybody's clear on how I came to the math, and so y'all see I put that $3,188,400 in there, and that is on line item 210,636. Just in case we owed a true up next year, I was going to add a couple of $100,000 to that expense to be ready. Does that make sense? But the report we just got last month is trending us towards getting back a true up of $238,000. So those would basically wash. So knowing those two things, we're just going to leave that at the number they gave us, $3,188,400. And when we get, and I've talked to Ed, our finance director, when we get the true up back, because this is an average billing and this is a true up, that doesn't go into revenue. It goes back into this expense item as coming off of it. So that's where that'll land and where you'll see the bookkeeping on that one. And with the way they're trending in the Public Works Department, I really and truly foresee us getting money back on a true-up next year too. Because this summer we've done much better. The true-up numbers stop in May, I believe. That's when they do their calculations. So we've gone 3 more months since then with better numbers, but the true-up ended in May. That's why we're paying $3,188,000. I feel like we'll have a lower number next year if we keep trending the way we are.
Are we still looking at like outside contractors to kind of help us with our I&I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, Chris is doing an awesome job working with Ms. Gia on a grant. And I think they're in the final stages of that grant.
Yeah, they've got to get it turned in pretty quick. It's the grant through the DRE grant that y'all approved us to apply for.
Yeah.
And that right there will get us enough money to start the basin study. And that, along with the steps that we're doing now to identify this, that's going to be huge in getting this I&I problem down.
Now, we have raised one of the expense items, as we should have. The garbage is about $256,000 more because we're in the 5th year of our contract, had a 16% increase. So that's reflected in here. And while we're talking about the budget, I want you all to be thinking about it. I brought this up at the Finance Committee meeting. 5 years ago, when we got a new garbage contractor, we formed a committee. I would like to, at the next meeting, get a couple of board members to be part of that committee, along with Stephen and the other Stephen. And while we negotiate, Stephen Hodges has already met with one garbage company and told them that he would like for them to bid on it. And of course, we got the current one. And so we need to all be working together and pulling on the same rope to get this done and get the best deal we can. So I will put that on as an agenda item for next time, to appoint a committee to work on the garbage contract so we can get ahead of it and not be at the last minute.
And I will add to that garbage question there is, the garbage does run out, the contract runs out in a year's time frame. It's going to take us about 6 months by the time you write the RFP, put it out there, get the bids back, vote on it. So we need to actually start moving on it.
Well, we'll have to do a reverse auction on that, or if we just do RFP.
I don't know if you can do it on a service. I know you can do a reverse auction on goods, but I don't know about a service. That's a good question to check into.
I'm not sure about service.
Because when we bought when we bought our last brush truck, and Pam ran it through the reverse auction, it came in way less than we thought. 2 companies started bidding against each other, and it was great. Yeah, I'll look in to see if we can do that on a reverse auction.
And we'll, when we send out these requests, will it include in it the startup fee? Because every time we change, if we change company, we got that startup fee with containers.
Right.
And so it might not be a true best bid when we plug in the startup fee for containers, even though it's a span over the years of the contract. So I really want the committee to think about that. And so the lowest number might not be the best number,
That's right.
because we run into that already.
Yeah, there's a few
before.
$100,000 worth of garbage
it's,
cans out there.
Yeah,
They're about $97 a can.
so that need to be definitely a part of the equation.
That's a good point. Thank you. Y'all have anything else on this tonight? Any questions, or, I know y'all haven't, y'all just got it laid on your desk, so I wasn't expecting a huge discussion.
And then also, just so for transparency's sake, so the Finance Committee's got a future meeting set for August the 10th, so we can, continue working on these documents and have them updated for our next meeting as well.
Yeah, and we'll include them in the packet, because the Finance Committee will meet before the packet goes out, so the next ones will be included in the packet, so y'all can have time to review them and call me with questions and over the weekend or whatever, so.
Has the Finance Committee looked at the idea of like a more meritocratic raise system? Or given department heads discretion, or?
Yeah, I have brought that up in some previous years, like having, like a flexibility for the department heads, so like having a cap and then having kind of a, something that's more, 'cause I think anybody that, just speaking, candidly, like, I think anybody that has ever had a job, if everybody gets the same amount, it can be a little bit of a morality killer, or a morale killer. To have somebody that, does everything perfectly, shows up on time for work every single day, and they get the same raise as somebody that does not, that can sometimes be a bit of it can affect morale for folks that are doing a really great job. So that has been brought up in the past, but it has not been adopted like full scale, I don't think, so.
If I'm not mistaken, and I do make mistakes too, what you're attempting to try to do is not done nowhere in this county with the city. I ain't talking about private business. I'm talking with the city. And so what we might be doing is open up a can of worm that we can't put back in the can.
Or, yeah, sorry, I thought you were done.
I'm sorry, I ain't gonna take for a minute. Because we really offer what we're here for on this item by bringing this up right now.
Yeah.
The truth be told, this has nothing to do with the item that we're working with, but since it brought up, I think I need to chime in also, is that you're trying to, some practice that you cannot bring in from private industry to the city, in my opinion. And then you're talking about morale right now is at an all-time high. And so just instant, and I know we ain't got no biased supervisors, but he might have a friend that get a little recommendation for a raise. And that's when you're talking about that gonna break loose. And I'm through with that now. Now you have your way. I won't have nothing else to say until the next hour.
Alderman Kitchens?
The other end of that is you might end up, because no one else is doing it, you might end up putting yourself in a better bartering position for really good employees. you have a little bit, if supervisors have a little bit more latitude.
I think we got great employees. Now, you saying we got bad employees?
No, I'm
We
saying,
got great employees.
I'm saying we're always gonna have to hire people.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
think we got great employees.
I think we do too. Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we're going to hire other people in the future. And we're going to need new people. And so as we do that, it might be easier to keep people, you know. And really, those great employees that we do have, it might be easier to keep them if they have a little bit more latitude. Not get poached from other cities or private businesses. So.
Any other discussion?
I'll just add, that DeSoto County tried to do exactly what you guys are talking about. I don't know if they still may, I don't know, but everybody got 5% in today. Because no supervisor wants to be the bad guy, so
Here you
I
go.
think we're having a big discussion about nothing. So.
Anything else on the utility budget?
Thank you to the Finance Committee and Stephen for putting all that together. I know it's an eye chart for us to sit here and look at it, but it's so much more so for y'all to go through and painstakingly look at everything. So I really appreciate the time y'all put into it.
And as we're getting through the audits, and Ed is getting, I don't say he has more time right now, but he's getting there because we're finishing up audits. But he has been a little more involved this time. He and Stephen actually met for a while today and went over the budget that he and I had put together before the Finance Committee and had good discussions on it. So it is getting the Finance Director's eyes on it as well, and lots of input from him. So.
Questions after you call me, and I'll try to answer if I can. I'll find an answer for you.
All right. If everybody's through on that item, we will move to the next one. All right, item 15 is the discussion of the golf cart crossing of Mackinville Road, and I'm a little familiar with it because I talked to a man who was upset about it, and I think Chad did and Lauren did as well. And I think the crux of it, and I'll let you jump in just a second, is that these things are only, these golf carts are only allowed on 35-mile-an-hour streets, which most of the streets in the city are. We've got a section of Mackinville that's 40. The highways, you can't ride them on the highways anyway. But our ordinance does say that you can cross one of those roads. And I think we've had a couple people pulled over while crossing, and it didn't sit well with them. So when I found that out, I called the chief, and the chief said he was going to do a little better training on our ordinance. And but a few people have gotten riled up about it because they feel like they might be getting picked on because they're driving a golf cart. And I think the whole reason we adopted a golf cart ordinance was to make it available for people to drive legally tagged golf carts just about anywhere in the city. I think that was the intent. So we just need to do a little talking about that. And Lauren, since you wanted to add it to the agenda, I'll open it up to you.
Well, and it's funny, it's kind of a dual thing. The golf carts themselves, but then also there's a lot of folks living in Delta Landing and only going to be more, and a brand new high school right across the street. And how do you get from point A to point B, right? So that's like one side of it too, is having like an actual crosswalk. How do we address that? I don't have kids, let alone high school age kids, so, and I don't live in Delta Landing, so can't speak to that. But the golf cart issue sounded like it was an easier one to talk through for sure tonight. I know there's folks from the public that had sent me some information on it, and it is kind of an interpretation of the ordinance as well as being safe on that. It's a big road over there.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and there's a lot of traffic through there.
You can ask Austin about the road, the traffic. He knows all about the traffic. He got ran over on that road.
Maybe a pedestrian crosswalk.
I haven't gotten pulled over there, but.
I think it's a good thing that y'all brought it to the board, but to me, I really think that item should have been discussed with the police chief and maybe the planning department, and then bring us some recommendation back instead of the board trying to handle that situation. There should be a discussion that could be had, you know, even with the alderman that brought that concern, is get with the mayor and our planning director and police department, and then bring us something back to us instead of us handling it from this level, because that's what they're supposed to do. I mean, if it's clarity, need some clarity and clarification on the ordinance, or else some recommendation on adding crossing, I think that should be done prior to coming to us, in my opinion.
Understood, Alderman Miller, for sure. Well, and just in like the interest of time and getting something on the agenda, just to make sure that the public is heard. You know how social
yeah.
media gets and people get real fussy, and I'd much rather people know that they're heard and that, hey, we're at least talking about it, and then we can go to the.
We put it,
We can-
send back to them.
No, and the thing is, I mean, I'm on the ordinance committee. It's going to end up on my lap too.
Okay.
Chad as well, right, to go through it, and the police chief sits on that committee as well. So this is just kind of a what y'all hearing kind of thing. We can't talk as a board of aldermen unless y'all are all here. So we can't.
Well, I haven't heard anything about, oh, sorry, you were going to.
I mean, I definitely don't think that the goal of the ordinance was to make it where you can drive your golf cart anywhere. It was more meant for like more neighborhood use, and that's why we had that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit put in there, 35 mile an hour, but it was also meant for like the downtown district for people that are here to come to the square, or if you're in Delta Landing to come to those new commercial shops that are going to be opening up or whatever else, kind of like these little hubs where you're able to actually travel to it, not necessarily, you know, I don't think, you know, where people need to be near off-ramps or on-ramps from the interstate or anything like that. It's just not safe. Like it really has that was really to me, why we wrote it the way we did. And I think that we even spoke specifically to one specific area, like if you're in Lakes of Cedar Grove and you wanted to go over to Milam Cove, you have to cross Mackinvale. Well, Mackinvale's over 35 miles an hour. Would that be, you know, kosher? And we said that it was during the discussion of the ordinance. So, I mean, this has already kind of been discussed a little bit, but it's just a training and a, you know, education point from that standpoint. But if we want to look at, you know, if it's talking about expanding something out, then or having something that's designated as, you know, a little sign that has a little golf cart guy on it, like, hey, you know, there may be golf carts coming over to the football game or whatever. I would assume they make signs like that, right? You would think.
We can make any sign we
Any
want.
kind of
We
sign.
found
Yeah,
out.
exactly, like it's a sign, right?
We just ordered some for the cross-country runners to be aware of them, so.
Yes.
Well, so I haven't heard anything about this, but someone emailed Nicole and I last week that the link on our website to get to the map is broken, and so I don't know who does that.
I think we got it fixed today.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Scott got it back up, I think.
Okay, good, thank you.
He showed it to me. I think it was on the website when he showed it to me. He was working on it real hard.
Great, good.
So is that something we want to discuss in our next ordinance committee meeting?
I think that.
And bring the chief
Miller's
with us? We just have
That's a
a
good
frank
spot.
discussion about it? Okay, we'll just do that at the next ordinance committee meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like I said, we can't all talk about it unless we're in front of all of y'all.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about it.
Any other discussion on that item? Okay, we will move on to,
Yeah, you can. If you want.
oh, yes, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were here to speak on that. Come on up, please.
I'm not a public speaker, so forgive me.
Will you state your name and address for the clerk?
I'm Nathan, and I live in Delta Landing. We've been members of the community. We previously lived in Crossroads subdivision, and we moved to Delta Landing. We love Hernando. My daughter's going to Hernando Middle School, and I have a 4-year-old as well. So we love Delta Landing. I think everything about it is awesome. The high school right there is so beautiful. We have found ourselves loving family time to just scoot right over to the high school, make a couple loops. We enjoy looking at the parking lot paintings. My daughters get a kick out of seeing Stitch and all these things. So it's become a very fond memory for us, and it's kind of come to an abrupt stop, and that's where I'm like seeking direction. So the residents of Delta Landing, most of the golf cart owners are adults, older individuals. They're not children riding golf carts. They all have license. They're insured. They've taken all the proper steps to obey the laws by getting it permitted. They put the money into it, everything that we're supposed to do. I believe that the ordinance right now, the way it's worded, gives us the right to cross. I think the way it's written, it says approved golf carts and low-speed vehicles may cross those streets that are not authorized to travel, but at the shortest travel distance to do so shall be required. Drivers are required to operate the golf carts at low-speed vehicles only in the outermost lane of a multi-street road where applicable. I think that Mackinville is a wide enough street that if you get into the outermost lane, oncoming drivers have plenty of room to get around you. And the section of the road that we're talking about is like, you're literally on and off within 30 seconds. I timed it on the golf cart. So you're not lingering. And also I'm asking for consideration of just one, let's all agree that the scope is very narrow. We're not talking about going up and down Mackinville. You're talking about 600 feet maybe at most. You get on and you get off. I sat there and did a sample. I'm an accountant by trade, so I like to do data analysis. I did a study. I set random samples. You can see an oncoming car coming from the hill. It takes them approximately 14 seconds on average to reach you. From the south, you have half a mile from the interstate. So you're not right on the exits, which could be a concern. That's way down there. You can see them coming forever. The average time to sit and stop and look both ways is probably 3 seconds. So even if a car that was going the speed limits, it takes 14 seconds. If they were doing the double that speed, that's 7 seconds. You still have plenty of time to sit there and watch, to look both ways twice. So I don't feel like it's a concern of a blind spot, which I've heard brought up before in other conversations. So I guess what I'm saying is, in the road that we're talking, Mackinville, we're allowed in 35, this is a 40, so it's not a 60. You could argue that people speed down that road, but I would argue that there's cops there all the time. I know exactly where they sit because I see them every day, so I know they're present. So I know that there's heavy patrol in that area, and that's good. I appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate it. I just want us to be on the same page. I feel very safe over there because of the presence. Let me just see here what else I had. So the city's already regulating these golf carts. I mean, we're asked to get them insured, get permitted. You have to have a valid license. I feel like we're doing more to be safe on the street than a cyclist has to do to be safe on a street, okay? And even people jaywalking, crossing the street to go to the high school, I still think that that's more risky than a golf cart crossing the street the way we're doing it. And so I'm just asking for that consideration. Like, if we could come to a compromise and say, you can just cross this area, this small little path, and we put a sign on both sides that, hey, look out for golf carts, like, that would be a compromise that we could all agree on. And we understand that it's not driving up and down Mackinville. Like, that's understood. Because right now, the way it sits, it's very restrictive for the Delta Landing community, because we can't go to Hernando. We don't have an access point to get there. So a compromise just to be able to ride the Hernando High School, I think is a fair compromise. And it's one that families can enjoy the time together in a leisure drive without being stuck in just one community. And so, like Lauren said, I think some great things to look down the path is a crosswalk. I think that would be a great addition with the community, and then eventually probably would need a light, with the higher traffic as it comes. But I wholeheartedly appreciate your consideration. I wasn't planning on doing this a month ago. This just kind of fell in my lap, and I just wanted to bring awareness, like, hey, we're not trying to break the rules. We just want to get clarity that we're doing all these steps to be law-abiding citizens, and we're getting mixed communication depending on who we talk to if we're breaking the law. And that's heartbreaking. I have to tell my daughter, we can't make this cross right now. I'm waiting for a response before we can do this. And she's like, Daddy, I used to love going there. I'm like, we can walk, but we're jaywalking. If we cross the street, walk it. So it's like, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. Like, we have to stay in Delta Landing the way it sits right now. And so I just ask for help, for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Okay. That was a good discussion. We'll move on to item 16, which is the utility adjustments.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes. Now we'll move on to the new item 17, which is the extension of the lane at Mackinville and Dilworth.
So I think this is something that I've mentioned to a couple folks in the past, but obviously we have Hernando Intermediate and Hernando Middle School off of Dilworth right there. We have a long line that sort of piles up onto McInvale. I think HPD is doing the best job they can trying to keep people off McInvale. But we have a turn lane that ends at the end of the Compel Church property. And there's a gap right there where if that turn lane was extended and paved out, it would give us another, whatever it is, I'm sure it's 150 plus feet of turn lane to help keep people off of McInvale Road. During drop-off, pickup, whatever it may be, it may make things more efficient potentially, like depending on how we look at the traffic flows. I did kind of do some legwork, and I talked with the school district about did they feel like they could help with a portion of the funds for it. Their board attorney did not feel like that was something they could do because it was just a general infrastructure project that is just on the city, not necessarily on them. It would be an improvement to a private property potentially. So I just wanted to open it up for discussion as like, is this something that we should, if we did it, we would have to curb it out. It would have to meet all the city standards, correct? We'd have to have sidewalk, we'd have to have curb, all that sort of thing. So we would be, improving that parcel without it being developed. But at the same time, I think we can, if you've been dropping off kids or if you've been in that area at that time, whether it's drop off, pickup, whatever it is, it's potentially becoming like a safety issue. And I think we can help the schools out with being more efficient, getting in there and getting kids dropped off and picked up.
So Joe's been looking at this for the last year or so, and I think we may have even put some material there from another project to start filling it in. And Joe, you want to tell us what you think about it and what your ideas and probable costs would be on it? Because it's been on our mind for sure.
Yes, yeah, I can take a look at that, come up with a plan.
We got to extend that drainage pipe that runs out there, don't we?
Yeah, got that drainage pipe. We did clean that area up so you could have some type of sight distance, but I guess now we're talking about, lane extension and a little more room driving there. Yep.
So let me ask this one question. I have to talk to the attorney first. So we're talking about improving and enhancing property in front of undeveloped property. That usually when the person developed their property, they pay for it. So we're talking about improving a person's property in front of their property at a significant cost. Once you do one, then somebody else gonna come for another, because on West Oak Grove Road, they bagged up all the way to Cathy Street. And on McInville is bagged up to Bahia. So it's way past Compel Church, is all the way back past Wesley Miller, all the way to the bank. So I think that that's a slippery slope when we start talking about making improvements in front of undeveloped property at taxpayer expense, and that's what being asked to do. And the school has already said that that's what, they won't entertain in no kind of way what the school said? What the school attorney said?
Yeah, they don't feel like I don't think that they feel like they're within their responsibility or within something that they would do.
And I feel the same thing about the city, and that's when I asked the attorney to, you got to show.
So it'd be like the same thing when the city took out a loan to extend sewer to Hernando West, and then took out a loan and had a special assessed tax, right?
That's when I yield to the attorney. I don't.
Yes, sir. I'm just using a recent example of something that previous boards did when sewer was extended to those folks, and then they, there was something that was put into place to have a, special tax that was applied to it to pay off a loan for that improvement. So that way they weren't getting any benefit. They were paying for the benefit they were receiving. So, that would potentially be kind of a route for doing that.
Joe, if the work we're talking about here, would it be within the existing road right away?
It would be.
Okay.
But at the same time, even though it's within the existing roadway and the right-of-way, when that property be developed, they be required to put that in, correct, Austin?
Yes, sir.
So it's still enhancing somebody's property and asking them to not do what others had to do. That's all my concern about it.
Stephen, while Joe Frank's looking at it, will you be looking into answering that question?
I mean, I think Ben's on point. I mean, I think it can be done. You know, it's whether it's a policy that Mr. Miller was kind of making a point of, it could be a slippery slope, it does open up other potential areas of cost to the city, but that's, you can make that determination on a case-by-case basis. But I think it can be done.
And that type of money would come out of what, road funds?
It would.
And we already don't have enough money to take care of existing streets now?
I don't have a child at that school anymore, but, so I don't know how the pickup procedures are, but I do know that there was a large parking lot that was filled with student cars because they were high school age, and now these students aren't driving to school. I mean, are they using that space to route cars in any way, or is that space just open and not used during pickup and drop off?
I think what's happening is the parents are showing up at like 1:15 to get in line to pick up their kid, and essentially parking in a roadway. And it's backing up traffic because school gets out at 2:30 or something like that. And that's why traffic's not moving till school gets released. So you just have it backing up and backing up and backing up until they get past where Ben's talking about, past Wesley Meadows. And it's probably the same thing in Oak Grove.
Yeah, it is,
So
Yeah,
I don't know if the
that's
police
very-
department could do something about them basically parking there for 2 hours, because that's essentially what's happening.
Because they sitting there reading books, man.
We don't allow them to park there until 2:30.
2:30, okay.
Before 2:30, we tell them to leave. Because they are obstructing the road.
Thank you, Chief.
And it's also the first couple days of school, so people are probably getting into a new routine and things, so.
Well,
Those 2 or 3 weeks
I
off.
agree, but I do remember this last year.
It was a big problem
fully
last
through into
year.
the school year, and it was still an issue. And honestly, you can sit there for 30 or 45 minutes before school gets out, or you can get there within 5 minutes of the bell ringing, and there's not a huge difference when your kid gets in the car. I haven't really understood it, but it does. I mean, I drove down Oak Grove today, and it was, I had to get in the oncoming lane of traffic to get to the stop sign to cross over Robertson Gin to come down, because people were just, it was probably 15 cars, you know.
Oh, on the Oak Grove School.
You have the same thing on Mount Pleasant with the elementary school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all school, so it ain't
Yeah.
unique
But
to-
Mount Pleasant is a wider street than Oak Grove is. There's no shoulder on Oak Grove really to get around. So, yeah, I think it's a problem everywhere.
I think what we'll do is, because there's a discussion on it, Joe, if you could put a number on it, then the board could have a discussion with a number in mind of what it might cost to do it properly. And then it's hard to have a real discussion without knowing how much money we're talking about.
Okay.
If it's $1 million, it's one thing, it's 50,000, it's probably another thing. So,
I'll take a look at it.
okay. Anything else? Ben, did you need to say anything else?
No, that's it. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay. If not,
Motion to adjourn. Second.
all in favor say aye. All opposed, no. We are now adjourned.